What is going on, everybody? My name is Jake with Code 4 Defense, and today we're out here on the range taking a look at the Recover Tactical PIX. Let's get into it. Like I said, today we're out here on the range taking a look at the Recover Tactical PIX. Now, the PIX is somewhat interesting in the fact that it's a essentially Glock chassis system that takes your standard Glock pistol 19, 17, or compatible variant. You place it inside of this chassis, and it gives you essentially a AR-15 style or pistol caliber carbine style setup for your Glock pistol. So this will be a little bit of a different review because we'll kind of go over the features of the PIX, and then I'll show you essentially how it works from there, as well as give you a little bit of my thoughts on it as we go through it. So just like we always do, we'll work from front to back, going top to bottom, just like we always do. So starting here at the front, you can see that it does accept a suppressor if you have a threaded barrel for your Glock handgun. This one is a Silencer Co. Octane 45, and it works with this 9mm extremely well. So suppressor ready right out of the box, which some of the some of the pistol chassis out there aren't actually suppressor ready right out of the box. So that's kind of a nice feature. Coming back, you can see that it's got Picatinny rail up here on the front if you wanted to mount like a backup sight or even a laser if you wanted to get real crazy with it, something like that. That continues along the top of the chassis itself, going all the way back. You can see it's got pick rail all the way back there. Coming back forward again, you can see that it's got a space for pick rail here on the front, on the sides. So that allows you to mount like a laser or something else. And when you go to rest your thumb on it, it kind of works as a nice place to index your thumb. And if you did put a light up there, it would be very easy to actuate as well. Coming back a little bit more, you can see that it's got these little standoffs right here. And this is actually, again, to place your thumb if you were to grip it without this forward grip right here. You could see that you can place your thumb right there, get a nice purchase on the chassis itself to get a better firing grip when you're firing. Coming back, you can see it's got the charging handle right here, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. However, it works well with the gun, easily charges, and when you come to like a slide stop reload or something like that, you can just drop it real easily. Nothing too crazy about that. Coming back even further, you can see that it comes back to the end of the device itself, which is actually threaded for a standard AR-15 style buffer tube. So you don't actually have to have anything. It can just be the chassis itself in a pistol configuration. Or you can thread any standard AR buffer tube device into here. Now this is a stock, so this is registered as a short barrel rifle, but this is a stock for the Kydex series of Glock pistol chassis. So it's a totally different company that makes this, but it folds nicely out of place, screws into that buffer tube, and it offers a sling attachment point for your quick detach slings and stuff like that. So I actually really like this stock on here. I saw it and thought, man, that would probably work out really well. It just threads onto the back and folds out nice for a nice compact kind of PDW style chassis type system there. If you come forward here, you can see that it's got pick rail here along the bottom so that you can again mount the vertical foregrips, or Recover makes this angled magazine attachment that clips in there real nice so you can hold your spare magazines. And I'll play some footage, but it actually makes for reloading pretty simple. You just drop the mag, grab this one, slam it home, and hit your charging handle, and you're good to go again. So for kind of a home defense setup, that would be pretty slick. Coming forward, you can see that it's got the magazine well, which is actually the handle of the gun. And when I break this thing open, you'll see a little bit more how that works. pretty slick, to be honest, but this just seats right up in there and you're good to go. As we come back, you can see that it's got the trigger right here. Now, the weird thing about this, showing you once more that it's empty, but the weird thing about this is the trigger is actually connected to the trigger in the Glock that sits way up here. So this trigger is working a second trigger, and when you get your trigger pull, it cycles the gun, reset, cycle. So I'll see if I can give you a little bit of a feel for that. You can see that's the take up. So it's very mushy. Certainly not like a crisp AR trigger by any means, but right there, there's the brake. Here's your reset. There's the brake once more. So it's a interesting system, and I guess basically the only way that you could do something like this, putting a whole handgun in there. But it works, and I'll tell you, when you're running this thing hard or when you're running drills or anything like that, you don't really notice the fact that it's a second trigger that's working the main trigger. It's not really something that enters your mind. Now, my favorite feature of this pistol chassis system is the fact that it has a legitimate safety. So when that safety is engaged, it isn't going anywhere. You're not firing the gun at all. It works really well. And then just like a standard AR, you come here with your thumb, you thumb it down, and you're good to fire once more. So the safety on this thing is fantastic. That's probably my biggest gripe with a lot of these pistol chassis systems that I've seen on the market, is the fact that they don't have a safety. And that's what I think I like the most about like the Flux Raider for the 320 fire control units, is that it does have an integrated safety so that you can actually sling this thing and not have to worry about it. So of all the different pistol chassis systems out there, this one, that wins me over more than a lot of the other features that we'll talk about in a minute that might detract you with this thing. So I'll break this open and show you exactly how it works on the inside, so you can kind of get a feel for how quick or not quick, or how easy or not easy it is to take apart. Like I said, we'll give you a good feel of how the Recover Tactical PIX works. So on the inside here, you can see that it's completely hollow. It folds open essentially like a clamshell here at the hinge on the end of it, so that it doesn't disturb the optic or anything like that on top. And essentially all you do is place your entire Glock pistol into this space right here, shut it, close these 3 tabs, and you're good to go. There's a couple of other steps that you can take, which we'll talk about, but that's basically it. It's pretty slick. The concept behind it is really neat. I'm kind of a sucker for anything that's weird and transformative, so this kind of caught my eye the moment that I saw it. But essentially, you take your Glock handgun right here, and you take your charging handle. Now, the charging handle, oddly, comes in 2 pieces that you have to screw together, and you're supposed to screw it together on the gun. So you're supposed to put the top part on, put this bottom part on, and then screw the 2 halves together. Now, I find that really annoying that the charging handle has to require a tool to place on, because part of the big draw on something like this is the fact that you could take your gun that you everyday carry or that you have for home defense or whatever it is, place into this pistol chassis system and do so quickly. So the fact that I have to use a tool to do that is, I don't know, a pretty big detractor in my opinion. However, what I found is that you can just screw those 2 halves together, and then all you have to do is just place it on, and it does the exact same thing. So I guess in that regard, it works without a tool. I'm not sure that that's its intended use, and I have no idea, you know, if you did that over and over and over and over again, if it would cause an issue. But for me, I've put it on and off, 15, 20, 30 times now, and it hasn't had an issue at all. So that's how I get around that, because I really don't like the idea of having to use a tool to put the chassis on. So once the charging handle is on the handgun, you take your chassis, and then essentially you just lay your gun right in here. It only fits in one way. Now, it's important to have an empty handgun when you go to do this, and it's important to place this piece on safe when you go to close it so that nothing crazy happens. But you place your handgun in there, you close up the front up, close these 3 tabs, and it's essentially in place. Now, there is a 4th step, which includes placing a bolt through here along with a nut in there, and then you screw that down, and that eliminates any wobble that I don't know if you can see that. This has a bit of wobble in there right now as it sits. When you place that nut in there, it locks it down tight and there's no wobble whatsoever. Now, again, I'm going to come back to that idea that it's annoying to me that I would have to use any tools to put this together. And I will say you don't have to put this bolt in here. If you wanted to go straight from taking your gun out of your waistband, putting it into here after it was unloaded and cleared, you don't have to put this bolt in here. You would be ready to rock after you put your charging handle on, and you can fire it. And for home defense, you know, less than 25 yards, it's going to be perfectly accurate for you. That said, I would like to have seen this where it didn't have this wobble and I didn't have to put this bolt in. So I'm not sure, you know, this was probably designed in here as a bit of, you know, a bit of slop so that the system can work properly and not jam up on itself. That said, I think other systems don't have that issue, and I think in the 2.0 version of this, I would like to see my ability to put this whole thing together, gun included, without any tools whatsoever. I think that's kind of, again, the draw to a system like this and the thing that I would want to see the most. So continuing on with some of the other things that I didn't like as much about it, when I first got this, the trigger or the safety on this was unusable. It was so stiff that I couldn't use it, or I couldn't actuate it quickly at all. I mean, you had to put a significant amount of muscle into your thumb to switch that, and that's not appropriate. You don't want something like that. It was a super easy fix. All I had to do was take the clip off that holds this, and then I took a Dremel to the little ball detent that works as the catch and just ground it down slightly. And now it's, you know, it's extremely smooth. I don't worry about it at all. I can work it without an issue. So that was a really easy fix. But again, something that I don't think that I should have had to screw with from the factory. So a little bit annoying in that regard. What I do like about this is that it gives you a legitimate kind of rifle style platform for your handgun. Now, again, this one's an SBR, so it is allowed to have a stock and it's allowed to be a rifle. I'm not sure, you know, with the way the brace laws are going and all that stuff, I have no idea what the point system is and all that crap. So we have the ability to SBR things. So we just went ahead and did that. So the brace thing, that's kind of on you. I have no idea why you couldn't put a brace on this and it wouldn't be just like every other braced AR out there. I just decided not to because I kind of liked this stock and I thought that it completed the build really nicely. So you can see without the can and without the foregrip on there, this is an extremely lightweight maneuverable package that would work really well for home defense. And I'll kind of get into why I think you would want something like this. And I come back to home defense. That's about the only reason that I think that you would need something like this or that you would want something like this. Maybe the other would be putting this in your truck or in your car to give you a kind of carbine style option, because I will tell you this is infinitely more accurate at distance than shooting a handgun just offhand, you know, at over 25 yards. This thing is much more accurate than that. So being able to take, you know, maybe your everyday carry like your Glock 19, take it out of your holster, put it right into this chassis, and go do whatever work you need to do, that would be a pretty big draw. The same thing goes with the home defense setting. I come home, I take my Glock out of my waistband, I put it right into my chassis system, and it's ready to go by my, you know, bedstand or whatever. I could go do some serious work inside of my house with this much easier than I could my handgun. And, you know, we can get into the finer points and argue all we want in the comment section down below, whether you think a rifle or a, you know, this style thing is necessary for home defense. But I can tell you that handguns are inherently hard to use, and no matter how much you practice with it, it's never going to be as good as a rifle style system. So this gives you, I think, one of the better options for the pistol chassis systems in the fact that it also gives you a safety. So I like the idea that I can sling this thing on safe and not have to worry about it, especially if I have to go hands-on with somebody or something like that. I don't have to worry about an ND or something crazy while I'm doing that, because I've got a nice positive safety that I can work, sling it, and do whatever I need to do. So overall, my impressions of the PIX are very good. I think it's a really cool system for $250. I think I paid for everything, including the magazine caddy, which, again, home defense wise, you place your 30 round magazine in here, you've got your 17 round mag in here, or plus 2 extension 19 round mag in there. You got upwards of 50 rounds in this thing. That's a lot of bang for your buck when you need to just pick it up and go, you know, if you hear a bump of the night or something crazy like that. So for as small as this is, as lightweight as this is, I think this is a pretty cool product. I'm not gonna lie. And like I said earlier, I'm a sucker for anything that transforms or does two things as opposed to one thing. And I think this does the two things well, unlike some things on the market. So I've been really happy with this. My big gripe, though, is that there's no reason I should need tools to place my gun into this chassis. So I know that they're working on a version 2.0. I mean, that's just how it works. And I would imagine when that version 2.0 comes out, I can't be the only one that has that gripe. I would hope that the next one is completely toolless, meaning you don't have to use anything in order to place your gun inside of the chassis. So let me know down in the comments below what you think of something like this, whether you think pistol chassis are stupid or whether you think they're beneficial, and just your overall thoughts of the Recover PIX down below. As always, thank you for stopping by. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one.